Okay. Good morning again, everyone. Thanks for joining this session today. So for the last 3 months, we were having different type of sessions. So let me just set a little bit of context, as I do always. And there was diverse context, right? We were setting our diverse type of discussions that we are having, right, almost on every Sunday. Sometime it is on the kind of learning series, sometime it is on fireside chat, how the industry is moving, panel discussions, right? We are trying to bring in different type of flavor, right, in these discussions. But basic intention is to learn and share, right? So this is the way, because it's a new era. It's a kind of disruption which is coming here and there, and we would like to hear from others and see that how industry is evolving, right, in this disruption, during this disruptive time. Now, today our we have a kind of fireside chat conversation coming up on building ethical AI in agile way using agile methods to launch AI responsibility. Now, before I go further, I would like to give you a little bit of context here. So, in the last three panel discussions that we have, panel discussion or the fireside chat, so we first started with how the industry is evolving, because AI people have a kind of mindset that AI is only going for an IT, etc., etc. It's not like that. So we know that AI is kind of impacting all type of domains, all type of industries, and different type of right business as well, right? AI is having an impact over there. Now, so we had a kind of great panel discussion, right, where we had a cognitive mindset, delivery aspect, then marketing strategy, and then travel transportation, utilities, right? Everything. We had a diverse view. Now, it's a kind of series, so we had to come up with a storyline. So next, we heard about how the leadership is changing, right? So because leadership transformation in the AI era, right? In the last Sunday, we had that great fireside chat. So now ultimately, right, whenever we understood how the industry is evolving, we understood the leadership. Definitely, we are going to hear about some of the technical aspect of it in the upcoming sessions, or maybe the sustainability and all those stuff. So today we are focusing on the delivery aspect of it, because ultimately everything boils down to delivery, how the different roles are changing. And needless to mention that agile is kind of becoming a norm. It is no more a kind of new transformation, right? It has been the backbone of the delivery for the last 25 years since Agile Manifest was published in 2001. Now, Agile has also undergone right lot of revolution, as well as it is based on a fundamental principle of inspect and adapt. So whenever any disruption came in, it fought against it, it adapted, and again it has become a kind of a key driver for the transformation. Now, here we are in the era of AI, and we would like to see how how agile practice is going to evolve and stay relevant, right, in this AI transformation era. That's the right bottom line of the discussion. Now, without further going into the details, let me introduce our speaker for today, right, whom we are going to have some conversation. So she is Dola Da. She is a delivery leader, right, in TCS, and having around 21 years of experience in the IT service industry. She is currently serving as a delivery partner in the TCS, specializing in the domains of energy resources as well as the life sciences and healthcare. So please join me in welcoming Dola Pal and myself, Shubho Brotopal, CGI director and a transformation strategist, right, leading a lot of transformation in the agile, skilled agile, DevOps, as well as now recently in the AI area. Now, Dola, my first question would be, right, so how, because whenever we are coming up with, you have seen the agile has been transforming, as we were telling, right, for the last 25 years. But mostly those aspects were right, practice wise, because we know that what is the outcome. So the basic fundamental component of the delivery has not changed. Still, we have a requirement. We have got design, architecture, engineering practices, then the software delivery, then the QA and other things as well. Now, of course, we had compliance and verification validations, et cetera, in there, but we never had this kind of mindset of the data integrity. Data privacy security came, of course, after the GDPR, but that also it's not a kind of widespread. Now, and then we had the different So now we are hearing a lot of buzzwords around ethical, responsible, fairness, transparency, and all those stuff. So my first question would be to you: how does Agile enable more responsible approach in the AI development compared to the traditional method? Over to you.
Am I audible, Shubhabrata?
Yes, you are.
Okay, okay. Thank you. I think thank you for inviting me for this discussion, and thanks to those who have joined also. I think it is a very pertinent topic, if you say, which is becoming very relevant as we are moving into this artificial intelligence, right? Towards this transformation of artificial intelligence, and AI, if you say, it is touching almost every aspect of human lives, and possibly every problem is now being solved through the intervention of AI. And so industries, or if you say organizations, they are leveraging this extraordinary capability of AI. A lot of innovation, a lot of transformation, I think, going on, where they are deploying this power of AI. AI is able to, we are hearing that AI is able to analyze the vast data sets. They are able to learn, relearn from those patterns. They are making autonomous decisions, right? So it is, I mean, along with these innovations and transformations, it is very important to look at the product development methodologies, which also are evolving, right? I mean, evolving hand in hand, if you say so, right? And the entire product development over the past 2 decades, right, we have seen how it has revolutionized, right? So initially we used the waterfall, the traditional model. Then came the transformation through Agile, right? Which is more of a self driven approach. It brings in a lot of iterative cadence, which helps to feed in the regular feedbacks. The team is self sufficient. There's a lot of reviews, checkpoints, retrospectives, and that is how it is continuously evolving. And now Agile has become a norm, right? So while Agile, we say, it has become standardized, it has become a norm, but Agile too is evolving, right? So it is, I mean, post the introduction of Agile, then we saw the integration with DevOps, right, and how it blurred the boundaries between the development and operations. Then you got the users and the human beings also into the overall development life cycle through the human centric design, through design thinking, through persona based outcome, right? Further, we saw how Agile scaled, right, for large organizations and enterprises. We got frameworks like Safe. You had those less frameworks and all of that. So a lot of transformations, I think, happening over the 2 to 3 decades, as we are seeing. And then now with this big transformation through artificial intelligence, right? So if you talk of the product development and how delivery looks at it, uh, I think the areas or the questions that we mostly ask or introspect while building a product is whether we are building the right thing, whether the product is being built right. So we are looking at the product aspect of things. Then you also talk about the process aspect, right? Whether I am doing the things in a right way, right? So that's the second question that we take care of. And then obviously, the to meet the market demands, we also ask whether I'm building the product at the right pace, right? So far, obviously, through Agile, these were the areas we were introspecting and we took care of. Now, with the integration of ethical AI, we are entering an era where uh, all of these ethical aspects, you have responsibility, transparency, security, privacy, inclusivity. So all of these aspects need to be given due consideration. And every sprint that you are developing, it is not only being measured by the speed or the velocity. I think that ethical consideration and measuring through the ethical compass also becomes very important. So this is the fourth question now we should integrate, and we are integrating. that whether the product that I am building, if it is ethically correct, right? So that is the evolution that has happened from the traditional method to the agile, and now with the incorporation of ethical agile. So it is more of a responsible approach where the entire team, they should, they should start infusing the responsible aspects of artificial intelligence and build them as the guardrails, right, as they are building the product. Uh, at TCS, and what we imbibe within our delivery is, we call it as TCS AI Safety tenets, right? So which takes care of 5 specific tenets, which are the security, wherein you are ensuring that the product that you are building, it is resilient, right? You take care of the accountability, because you should uh, make somebody accountable, right, if the AI system fails, right? So accountability is also an important aspect. Then you have to incorporate fairness, right, whether you are taking care of all the right set of strategies, right data. So inculcating the fairness aspect. You should We are also, the fourth tenet is transparency, right? The end users who are using the product, who are using this AI systems, whether they have the right to understand, right, that and they are being transparently explained what results in the response that they are getting through this AI system, right? And finally, I think very important is the identity, taking care of the identity, or more of the privacy perspective. So, your data, the user data is secure, the privacy aspect is taken care of. So I think these are the aspects which get integrated and, embedded into the agile practice, which we, take care during the development. So I think that pretty much answers your question, right?
Thank you. Thank you. No, I really like the way you have kind of explained the paradigm shift. Whenever we were in the waterfall, we were mostly on a kind of three iron triangles, right? Scope, time, right, and
Value.
value,
Cost.
right, quality, etc., etc. And then we move from right doing the right thing, doing the things right, and doing it fast. And now the fifth question, which is sorry, fourth question, which is coming into picture, doing the things ethically. No, that's a
Correct.
right fantastic point. Now, if I go to the next part of it, so far what we are seeing right in the industry, so because still AI is evolving, it's not matured, right? We have not come to that aspect that where right there is a clear set of guideline that how AI should be practiced into the delivery, right? There's still a lot of experiments going on. That so far what all things we have seen that these ethical considerations has become more reactive than proactive. Correct. So here I would like to explore a little bit from your knowledge or your experience that why is it important to integrate ethics into the AI development life cycle right from the beginning?
Okay. See, we are talking of ethics. I think it is not just a checklist, right? It is beyond that. So it is not that you need to, the product that you are building, it is taking care of all of these ethical practices which we just spoke of, right? It is more than just a safeguard, it is more than just a guardrail. I think it is the very foundation of trust, right, of long term relationships, of societal alignment, with the product that you are building. So ethical considerations have to be considered from the very foundation of the, of the AI development life cycle. And so far, in an agile process, we had this concept of readiness, right? So when we are starting a sprint, so we need to adhere to a definition of ready, right? And we need to check whether our definition of ready is met, which included, the functional readiness, the technical readiness, right? So now with this ethical thing coming in, there's a new set of checkpoints, right, which must be included to ensure that all of these ethical aspects are also taken care of, right? And this consideration, it not only helps to think of your product, that how relevant it will be, whether it will be accepted to the users in a broad way and all. It also helps the team to imbibe and to more to make it as a habit, that they are taking care of the biasness, of the privacy, of bringing in the uh, aspects of unintended consequences, if these are thought through very early in the cycle, right, rather than giving it as an afterthought, rather than bringing it as fix when the product is already developed, because it would anyway it would more become more costly. It would result in issue with the reputations, right? So every phase from ideation to deployment and even beyond, I think it is very important to take it through a very rigorous checkpoint and thorough reviews, and just to ensure that it stands up to the ethical standards. So more or less, I think it is very important to have the ethical considerations built into your user stories, your sprint planning, your backlog definition, I think from the very start, right? So it is not only about the definition of readiness, but I think every sprint practice, every agile practice must give a due consideration of these ethical standards.
And excellent, excellent. And that's a great thought leadership that we are trying to bring in here, that in the definition of ready, right? So apart from the functional readiness, technical readiness, QA readiness, data readiness, whether we should try to bring in that another pillar, right, of readiness, that is the ethical readiness. Now let us come to the executional part. So we talked about the how it is going to evolve. We talked about the readiness aspect. But if we come directly into the execution, we know that AI is going to bring in a lot of new roles, right? And we would like to hear from you on those things. But also there are some existing predefined roles in Agile, correct? Like product owner, right? Scrum master, dev team, which can
Correct.
again have right a lot of developers, testers, business analysts, etc., etc. So I'm curious to know, are these roles going to stay the same way, or they also need to evolve, right, to make them relevant into the execution process? Would you like to share some thoughts around that?
Correct, correct. So I think, see, if you talk of a agile team, right, at its core, the agile team is, we talk of a cross-functional group of committed people who come together, to deliver incremental value. There's constant collaboration. You have got regular feedback cycles, regular reviews, right? So the team is self-efficient, adaptive team, right? So you already have a team which comes with a lot of expertise, a technical expertise, right? Now, what changes in the context of ethical AI? So when you talk of ethical AI, I think it demands that the agile team, they move their focus, or they shift their focus from doing things right to also doing the things in a right way, right? So ethical development, if you say, it is not only, I mean, if you think of the ethical perspectives, it is not only the sole consideration, or the thought of only bringing in the right technical people, right? It is more of having a multidisciplinary expertise to look at the product, right? So earlier, I mean, you called out that the agile team, right? We usually have the product owners, we have the scrum master, we have the development team. So this was the primary team that we thought of when thinking of agile development. But now I think it is it is more of looking at bringing in expertise from data scientists, right, who can put in the right right blend of data, right data sourcing, so that they can look at the aspects of bias, whether the all encompassing data is built into the product, right, when the product is rigorously tested through all of this kind of data. You have to bring in your domain experts who can ensure that the AI that product that you're building, it is relevant in that specific field, right? You have to build in the considerations and the reviews from the ethicists and the compliance officers, right, who are experts in their own field and can ensure that the product that you are building, it is compliant, right? The GDPR compliances, the HIPAA compliances, you have got the ISO compliances and all of that. You have got the UX and the user advocates, right, who ensure that the product that you are building and the data that you are using, the users have their consent, right? There is complete transparency. So I think it is a multidisciplinary team that needs to be brought into and blended as part of your agile team. So this is the new team that you are building, the new roles that you are building in. But if you think of the existing roles, right? So they are also not the same. I think they also need to step up and develop and build into themselves some additional skill, right? So it's not only the expertise that they are carrying, but I think it is more of the depth considering the ethical aspects, right? So if you talk, let's take the example of a product owner. So far the product owner was only thinking about the overall product, right, the functional features and what should be prioritized and all of that. But now I think the product owner should also visualize the features from an ethical consideration, right? So the product owner also needs to expand their skills so that they can think through all of these ethical aspects. If you think of the QA or the tester, right, they are not only testing it from the functional perspective, but I think they need to include and execute the test cases to take care of the bias detection, to take care of the data privacy safeguards, right? So that is the step up from the role of the QA.
And I
If
think
you
I
think
think I think you wanted to not only ethical, but also you wanted to make a kind of the holistic coverage, right, of
correct,
the
correct.
different type of whenever we are trying to bring in that fairness, right, moving out of the biasness, right, those aspect I'm sure like those are also should be incorporated, right, whenever the product owner is writing the story or the QA is preparing the data, etc., etc. Would you like to share something?
Right. So for example, let me take this example, right? So, from a healthcare perspective only. So, TCS has this, a CCT platform, the Connected Clinical Trial platform, right, which it developed and which is part of a advanced drug development suite, right? It is a, it is a offering which is primarily for the clinical trials and the medication management, right? So, and TCS at TCS we have. Deployed the best of the cloud architecture. We have taken care of the user experience design, right? And not only this, I think this is also in compliance with the good clinical and quality standards. So this project, it other than that, I mean, obviously we are building projects based on the agile methodology only, and we had deployed a cross functional team here, right, which consisted of the data scientists, right, who built the predictive models and who were able to anonymize the patient data. We had taken the contribution from the domain experts, the clinicians were involved, the pharmacologists were involved, who validated that the medical relevance of the AI recommendations, right? There were the ethicists and the compliance officers who ensured that the product went through the clinical trial regulations, right? There were patient engagement specialists, right? So who ensured that the interface that is being built, it had enough of transparency and the informed consent of the patients, right? So this collaboration, it not only helped in bringing in efficiency in the trial process, but I think it also helped to mitigate any unforeseen risks and took care of the patient trust, the standards, the regulatory acceptance, and all of these aspects. So I think it is very important to bring in that right blend of the team and expertise, and that is how the well collaborated team expertise gets into the product development.
Thank you so much, right, that was a great answer. Now, coming to again, now we learned about discovery, right? We learned about delivery. Now, finally coming to the right, going to the market. I mean, that means basically the compliance check. And we all know that in Agile, the compliance check is done through something called definition of done. Like we had a definition of ready, we are having definition of done. Now, typically the definition of dones are having certain category, which we'd like to learn from you. My question would be, how can Agile teams include fairness, transparency, and accountability into their definition of done in the AI area?
I think very important aspect. We have been talking about integrating ethical, practices into our definition of ready, thinking, taking the product through multiple reviews and retrospectives, bringing in all of those third eye validations, right? So, but now what makes the agile outcome, or what makes this, the system complete, right? When do you say that your um, system is ready, right? And meets your definition of done? So when you talk of the definition of done, I think the three important aspect, right, that we take care of are the functional acceptance, the compliance alignment, and whether my product is ready for the release, or the release readiness, right? So now, in addition, there is a fourth, and I would say a non-negotiable aspect also, which needs to be taken care of, and that is the ethical and the data coverage, right? And it is not only a checklist that we must put in. I think it has to be integrated as part of your specific metrics, just as you would do any other metrics for your product development, and measure it as a KPI, right? So it should no longer be aspirational, if I may say so, but it has to be more accountable, actionable, and auditable, right? So the teams should first come together and collaborate and define what each of these principles means in their context, right? And how they should integrate in their user stories, in their sprint planning, and finally, what should be written as the definition of done, right? For example, a test, let's say, or a feature, let's say, it is not considered as done until and unless it passes the bias scan, right? Or until and unless there is a clear and transparent user communication of how the user data is being used. So I think the definition of done must be included as a non negotiable item in your overall planning, right? And not only this definition of done, I think all other Scrum events, if you say the backlog refinement, you have the sprint planning, you have the daily cadence, the daily stand up, the sprint reviews and retrospectives. I think all of this should have a strict checkpoint to ensure that all of these, the ethical aspects are taken care of.
Okay, excellent, excellent insight. Now, what we learned in the last 30 minutes, that a lot of prerequisites are kind of coming into picture, whether in terms of discovery, right? Whether in terms of readiness activity, whether in terms of the execution, right? Now that you have talked about, right, the different checks. So basically, we know that there are, as per our Edward Deming, right, cycle, right? It is PDCA, right? Plan, do, check, and adjust. So in every aspect of it, we need some right additional things, right, coming into picture. And whenever we talk about the AI part, right, with this ethical consideration, inclusivity consideration, fairness, transparency consideration, and the most important thing, because AI is more cognitive, the more you fit the training data, the AI result will become more robust, right?
Resilient. Yeah.
Right? More resilient, more coverage. Now, my question here is ultimately the customer will think about the speed, right? And the faster time to market. Now, and the delivery managers are kind of thinking about how fast or how quality deliverables we can make to satisfy our customer, but at the same time, as you all said rightly, we need to talk about the ethical guidance. So how to balance this pressure, right? So how do you balance the pressure of deliver AI features quickly with the need of the ethical guardrail Don't you feel it as it's going to be a big challenge? What is your thought there?
Correct, correct. I think, see, there is always a contrast between, uh, how much you deliver and how quickly you deliver. I think there's this constant pressure to ship features quickly to our clients because there's always a new breakthrough just around the corner, right? So the team that is working, they always find themselves in a race to deploy the features very quickly, right? But what happens if such a if this system that you are developing, it does not go through a rigorous thought process, and later on, after deployment, you face unforeseen consequences, right? So I think there it is very important to strike the right balance between how much you deliver and how quickly you deliver. Huh. So let me
Would you like to give any
talk through.
example? Yeah.
um, uh, so maybe you would have heard about this incident during the COVID times. This UK education system, it fell into an issue, right? It is mostly because the students were not able to take the examinations because COVID hit, right? And but the university admissions, etc., were required, right? So the UK education department, they deployed a algorithm, right? It was an automated grading system which was supposed to list out the students, right, the eligible candidates, based on their previous track records, their mock test results, right? And they did not want to take the feedback from the actual teachers, just fearing that there might be some bit of unfair decisions that comes in, right? But finally, this in a bid to quickly deploy this algorithm, I think the model ended up favoring students which were from certain specific institutions, from the private institutions and affluent areas, rather than from the state run schools, or the less represented population. So in their bid to quickly identify and find out a solution to the then problem of that they had to finalize the university admissions, I think they compromised on the fair and transparent outcome, and taking a complete view of the data sets that was required to feed into this algorithm, right? So I think it is very important to have a proper trade off between speed and the ethics or the values. So I personally would recommend, and that is how we work with a team, that we let us not pick up everything, right? So we should I think prefer or think about depth rather than breadth. Is what I recommend, right? So it is not about picking up a lot of features at once, but I think the team should try to pick up only a manageable set, where they will also have the bandwidth to uh, take care of the rest of the aspects beyond the functional features, right? The product should go through, or the feature should go through enough of testing, third eye validation, should take care of all the regulations, the data set. There's a lot of thought that needs to be given in the preparation of data, which is being used to test those features. So I think it is very important to have the right balance between between how much you take, or what features you want to deliver, and how much of ethical guardrails you want to bring into your development.
Excellent. The last question for today, right? Can you share an example where ethical practices, right, in Agile helped or could have helped? Any success or failure story?
Correct. I think, see, as I said, and as we all know, I think Agile and AI, they are definitely going hand in hand, and AI is bringing in a lot of transformation, right, in almost all industries, right? And especially in industries where there is a human impact, right? So, for example, the healthcare, the travel, transportation, right? The ethical vigilance is not only prudent, but I think it is very essential, right? So if I can bring up an example from no, from the healthcare sector only, so where the team was working on a AI solution for a clinical trial project, right? And this uh, this framework was designed to predict the early signs of patient deterioration during a multi-site clinical trial, right? The aim was to uh, bring in the attention of the medical practitioners and assign resources as and when the patient condition was deteriorating. So the initial data set, I mean, while there was a lot of consideration given and data, the initial data set that was gathered, that was from multiple hospitals and clinics, right? So the data was definitely diverse and vast, right? But during the initial retrospective, I think, and reviews with the data scientists, it was found that most of this data was representing the patients from clinics from the urban centers, right? And the rural population was relatively underrepresented. Further, there was also a concern that some of the records, though there was proper masking and de-identification was done, I think there was always a risk of re-identification and where some of this data and the masking could get uh, uh, re-identified through cross-reference with public sources, right? So there was a major risk to the privacy also. So I think all of these considerations were embedded as ethical checkpoints and reflection during the sprint reviews and retrospectives. The data review was done with data scientists and compliance officers. There was a recheck of the anonymization protocols that were deployed, and data masking techniques were made more robust, right? So because of all of these considerations and timely intervention, the product that was built, it was it was found to be suited to the end users. The privacy audits did not find any breaches, and I think appropriate governance was built into, and I think it was a success, if I can say so.
Thank you so much. Wow. What an insightful conversation today. So can't thank you enough for that. So we have explored how agile can become, it can be more than just a kind of fast delivery model. We know about, right, agile, like what it can bring in, but you have given a kind of different dimensions to it. Now it can become a kind of framework for responsible AI if we embed ethics into every step, right? Starting from all the aspects, right, that you said. Now, from weaving fairness right into the user story to retrospective for reflection, unintended consequences to ensuring diverse team shape, right, into right AI getting built. We have heard that responsible AI is not just a roadblock, but it is giving us a new roadmap, right? It's a new future, it's a new go ahead, right? With I mean, which we should be kind of focusing on. So I think like we are coming to the end of the conversation with three very important thoughts, right? Ethics is not a checkpoint, it's a mindset. It has to be built into the sprint, not to be tackled at the end. Cross
Correct.
functional collaboration is non negotiable because the ethical AI needs diverse perspective. And finally, Agile gives us the opportunity to do the quick course correction, right? Learn from the mistake and course correction, and with the right intention so that we can ship fast and ship the right and ship ethically. So thank you so much, Dola, right, for your great insights on this. I know it's a very difficult topic because it is still getting explored, right? We have not yet come to any conclusion. It is still evolving. But still, thanks for sharing your thoughts. I would like to open up right here the floor for any question from anyone. Okay. If no question, thank you so much. And we would be coming up with a very interesting panel discussions next week, right? Where we are going to have some participant again from TCS, Accenture, and the entity data, right? So I would request all of you to join. It will be a great, insightful session. And thanks for your blessing, right? So that we can carry out this series moving forward. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day or
Thank you.
right. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.